Okay, so here are the real resumes that I collected at the job fair from these hardware engineers. Obviously, I've crossed out all of their personal information to keep things confidential. And I thought it would be cool for us to play a little game where as I show you the resume first, I want you to take a guess in your mind if this is a good or bad resume, if this would get passed on to a hiring manager, or if we would just throw this in the trash. And I'm gonna mix it up between good and bad resumes, but stick to the end because I have my favorite and best resume template all the way at the very end. They've got their personal information at the top and then they go right into their work experience. Now, I'm gonna try to make it very clear here, but you can see they have one job title with the years that they've worked there, and then they only have one bullet describing what they've done at a super high level for each of the different positions. Regardless of how many years that they've been there, they only have one bullet for every single one of them. And then at the very bottom, you can see they have their education, and then they have their skills. So I'll pause it for 1 second. Do you think this is a good resume or a bad resume? Yeah, so unfortunately, this is not a very good resume. Even though the formatting itself is actually okay, it's a simple format, there's no crazy colors or photos or anything like that, but you can see here, they don't use all of the space very efficiently. There's a lot of white space on the sides due to the margins. And one of the main problems with this resume is they only have one bullet for every single job that they've done, even though some of them they've been working in this position for 4 years. So they've probably accomplished a lot of amazing things, but I don't know that because they only have one bullet describing all 4 years of work. Also, I don't like that the skills are all the way at the bottom, especially for a technical engineering type role. I need to know what languages you know, and if you actually know the certain parts of the phone that I need you to build. And so I have to scroll all the way to the bottom just to be able to see that. So this is not a resume template that I would recommend in 2025. Okay, here's the next resume template that we can see if we like or if we would reject them. You can see they have their personal information here at the top. They do have an objective statement at right here. And then they go into their skills and then their work experience. I've crossed out some of the personal information so you can't really identify who they are. And then they have their school projects or work projects down here in this section. And then they have their education at the bottom, very, very last, including their GPA. Now, they did graduate 1 year ago, so they only have 1 year of work experience. So based on this resume format, do you think we would hire them or we would reject them? Now, actually, I really like the overall formatting and the layout of this resume, but there are a few things that I would improve. First, you don't need an objective. We already know that your objective is to get a new job, so you definitely don't need an objective. If anything, you should put a summary. But I do like how they have a common job title in the industry all the way here clearly at the top, so I know exactly what type of job it is that you are qualified for and the exact job description that you're applying for. And then you have your skills section next, only highlighting the actual relevant languages that you know for this type of engineering job, which makes my job as a recruiter super easy, which I love. Then they go right into the work experience. And they have a lot of bullets describing what it is that they've done from a technical perspective, all the things that they were able to achieve. And then projects down here. Now, because you just graduated from your master's program, it's okay to have some projects here if you've only been working for like a year or two. But once you've hit your 2 year mark, you should have a lot of projects from work where you don't even need a project section. A project section is mostly for students. So you can exclude this when you've been working for a longer time because your projects will be covered here in your work experience section. And then it's good to have your GPA if you have good GPAs. If your GPA is less than maybe like a 3.3, you probably don't want to include it. Now, if you're applying for one of the top companies in your industry, the top companies would only really care if you have something above a 3.7. So, and remember, if you've been working now, we don't actually care what your GPA is after, like, say, the first or second year, because if you were able to get a job, to us, your GPA no longer matters. So here's the next resume that we collected. They had their personal information at the top, which I've excluded. They have a professional objective here. Then they have their education, and you can see they've been working for over 25 years now. And then they have all of their professional experience. And I am not joking, their resume is over 10 pages long. Okay, so do you think this is a resume that we should pass or a resume that we should reject? Yep, so this is definitely a resume that we would reject under normal circumstances because no one wants to read a 15-page resume. Your resume should be 2 pages max. Also, if you've been working for more than 3 years, your education section should be the very last thing because you're so far removed from your graduate coursework now that we care more about what you've accomplished at your job than what you've been able to do in school. You should have a 2-page resume if you have more than, I would say, 10 years of work experience. Anything less, you should try to have your resume all in 1 page. Here's the next resume that we collected, and actually I'll tell you that this resume is the one that you get for free when you export your LinkedIn profile as a resume, which I'll show you on the screen is one of the options from your LinkedIn profile. When you print it out, it comes out exactly in this format with your contact information on the left, education, and then your intro, which is your summary of what you put at your LinkedIn top, and then your work experience here. Now this resume is 3 pages long because when you just copy and print from your LinkedIn, it doesn't let you choose how many pages it should be. So, do you guys think this is a resume we passed on or a resume that we rejected? Yes, as a recruiter, I can tell you, you should never, ever, ever use your LinkedIn printout as your resume because it doesn't look very good. You can't really control how many pages it is. And also recruiters and hiring managers both know that this is just someone being lazy. And so even if you have the relevant work experience for us, we're not going to take this as a real resume. And most companies will actually require you to resubmit a real resume using a proper format. So you should never print out your resume from LinkedIn when you're applying for an actual job. Here's another resume that we collected at the career fair. They have their summary here at the top with their current job title. They have their areas of expertise, aka their skills, and then they go into their professional experience, and you can see all their bullets here. And then it's only a 2-page resume, which is great because they have a lot of work experience. And then at the very bottom, they ended with their education. Do you think this is a resume that we liked or a resume that we rejected? This is actually one of my favorite resume formats that we got from the career fair, and this is definitely someone that we are going to interview. You can see that they have a really concise and powerful summary here at the top, and it tells me what their current job title is and their level, so I would know what type of pay band and what type of level of job they would be interviewing and applying for. It tells me which hiring manager I should put them directly in front of. They have all of their areas of expertise, aka technical skills, which as a recruiter is great because I'm not a technical person, so I can just look for the keywords here, and then I'll know if you're qualified for the role. And then in their professional work experience, they broke down all their different jobs. They've only worked at one company, but they were able to show their career progression by breaking down their different job titles. So you can see here, they got a promotion in 2015 to the next level, and then they were able to accomplish all these things at that level. The job bullets are a little long because they're more in paragraph format than one sentence, but that's not a huge deal. And I like how all of the bullets have very strong and powerful verbs that start off each of the different bullets, and it shows that they were able to drive actions, and you can see that there's already a lot of numbers that are on here, which we love because he's able to quantify the result and the impact that his work had for his engineering teams. Here's the next resume that we collected at the job fair. They have an objective at the top, their education section here because they just graduated from school last month. They have their relevant work experience from their internships, and then they've got their technical skills, coding languages, and then they have their academic projects that are down here because, again, they just finished their master's program, so they don't have a whole lot of work experience. So, do you think this is a resume we liked or a resume that we rejected? This is actually my favorite resume and the best resume template that we got at the entire career fair. Out of hundreds of people that came to our booth, this was the best resume that we had. Their objective is really more of a summary statement, which is fine. Granted, if you've never worked that much because you just finished school, this doesn't really mean anything and we're not going to read it. But for people who have been working, this is a great format and layout to follow. They maximize the entire width of the page. There's no wasted space. Because they are just graduating, their education section is second, and you can see that they have very good GPAs, which every company loves to see. If you've been working, your education section should be last, but if you're recently graduating, you want it to be second. They have their relevant work experience here from their internship that they got, and I blocked out the company name, but they actually got an internship at one of our biggest competitors, which is a really good sign for us. And they were able to accomplish a lot, because you can see here they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullets of all of the work they were able to accomplish in their engineering internship in just 3 months, which shows us that they are a very good intern. Then they've broken down their technical skills and coding languages for me as a recruiter, which makes it super easy to tell that they are qualified for this role, and I would definitely put them in front of a hiring manager. And then one of the key things here at the bottom is, because they don't have a lot of work experience, they filled the rest of the page with their relevant academic projects. And they've only highlighted the relevant projects that are pertaining to this job description itself, and they broke it down for me in terms of whether it's architecture or it's verification, all of the keywords that I would need to see for a master's graduate. And it even tells me what specialty area they would actually prefer to work in. Because when you get a master's degree, we can typically hire you in 3 or 4 different disciplines. And so in their objective here at the top, they told me which specific role they would like based on their internship experience and their academic projects. I can see that this would actually be a very good candidate for a verification role. So this is my favorite resume template, and I'm going to have a URL where you can download this exact template so you can use these for your upcoming job applications, because this is one of the best resume templates I've seen in 2025. So there you have the best and worst resumes that I got at my company job fair. But let me know in the comments, what did you think about this style of video where we reviewed resumes live together and you can see what templates are good and what templates are bad. Now, if you want me to actually do videos of subscribers' resumes and I can give you all feedback on how to optimize it for the ATS and how to actually stand out in this competitive job market, put your information down in your comment as well, and then I can reach out to you individually to get your resume and see how comfortable and how we could work out a way to actually review real subscriber resumes up on this channel. Maybe we can turn that into like a series or a short series or something like that. So feel free to give me feedback in the comments, and if we don't like this video, then also give a lot of thumbs down so I'll know not to make this style of video anymore. Thank you all for watching, and don't be afraid to shake things up this year with these awesome resume templates.